Namaste Lovelies, and thank you for joining me on this video of Tahlya the Truth. And I wanted to share with you guys two of my favorite things. One is books and the other is advocating for the youth, specifically middle school and high school age. I feel like those are very big growth periods in a person's life. And so if they are able to navigate and find their inner compass and their inner guidance, then that will set the foundation for a beautiful future for them. So I have worked with youth, and I have worked as a middle school facilitator at a spiritual center before, and I really enjoyed their energy and their vibrance and their imagination, creativity, openness. And there's just so much beauty, so much life, so much chi and prana in these beautiful young souls. Some of them are old souls, I mean, seriously, but they're just so amazing. So I wanted to share some books that I know. I have a 9-year-old son, and I've read most of these books to my son. But some of these books I feel like are for any age. Others, you know, you might want to read or give them a book or read to them when they're a little bit older. But honestly, these books are transformative, they're fun, they're all fiction based, but with little pearls of knowledge and wisdom for this life and our humanity, and being able to ground and feel a sense of limitlessness and a sense of purpose. All of these things are so important to be ingrained in children as young as possible, so that when they get out there and really navigate this world, that they can follow their heart, they can follow their inner guidance system. And so I just wanted to share this with you. Also, a side note, I love these books as well. They're not just for kids. They're not. They're for everybody. Seriously, I recommend everybody read these books. If you have not read these books, they're amazing. But let me start off with the first book. The first book is called Johnathan, Livingston, Seagull, and I have a copy right here. And this book is amazing because it inspires children to be limitless. It's all about a seagull and how he kind of breaks away from society's hold and gets out there and really pushes the boundaries of what he himself can do, but also in his seagull world, the collective of seagulls, and he, you know, tests the limits. And it's just such a beautifully written book. I feel like this book can be all ages, read anytime. I mean, even if they don't know how to talk, if you just start reading to them, I think it's amazing. That way they get the whole reading thing. And unfortunately now I think my voice puts my son to sleep. So we're doing audiobooks. But I just totally encourage everybody to read to their children. It's all up to you though. And so Johnathan, Livingston, Seagull, it's by Richard Bach, and it was published in 1970. And like I said, it really encourages limitlessness in children, and to really question and make sure, you know, that they are doing it for themselves, that they're not getting peer pressured, that they're not getting pressured by teachers or other parents or anything like that, and that they're truly at their core. And so I'm just going to read a little excerpt, and then we're going to move on to the next book. So The gulls were flocked into the council, gathering when he landed, and apparently had been so flocked for some time. They were, in fact, waiting. "Johnathan Livingston, Seagull, stand to center." The elder's words sounded in a voice of high ceremony. Stand to center meant only great shame or great honor. Stand to center for honor was a way the gull's foremost leaders were marked. Of course, he thought, the breakfast flock this morning, they saw the breakthrough. But I want no honors. I have no wish to be leader. I want only to share what I have found, to show those the horizons out ahead for all of us. He stepped forward. "Johnathan Livingston Seagull," said the elder, "stand to center for shame in the sight of your fellow gulls." It felt like he was being hit with a board. His knees went weak, his feathers sagged. There was a roaring in his ears. Centered for shame? Impossible. The breakthrough. They can't understand. They're wrong. They're wrong. Anyways, so that's a little excerpt from Johnathan Livingston Seagull. And again, this is just a dear book. And let's move on to the next book. Oh, also, I'm going to put a link down below. There's a movie, apparently, that was made. I haven't seen it, but I'll put a link to the movie, maybe a preview or something. If you guys aren't into books, then there's a lot of these books have been turned into movies. All right. The next book, I'm sure most of you guys have heard of already. I actually heard this book from my mother, who had it when I was a little girl. This book was published in 1923 by Kahlil Gibran, and it is called The Prophet. The Prophet, what can I say about The Prophet? The Prophet speaks to hearts. It is poetry. It is deep, deep wisdom, like heart wisdom, and it is so well written, and he even does illustrations in this copy. He has done his own illustrations. You can see how beautiful that is. And he published it himself actually in 1923. But it's just such an amazing book, and it shows the beauty in all things and the balance and how pain can be transmuted, and everything is gorgeous in its own way. I feel like this book, I've already read it to my son. There's also a movie about this book as well, and it's literally poetry of life. It's just amazing. So I'm going to read an excerpt. "And a man said, 'Speak to us of self-knowledge.' And he answered, 'Your hearts know in silence the secrets of the days and the nights, but your ears thirst for the sound of your heart's knowledge. You would know in words that which you have always known in thought. You would touch with your fingers the naked body of your dreams. And it is well you should. The hidden wellspring of your soul must needs rise and run murmuring to the sea, and the treasure of your infinite depths would be revealed to your eyes. But let there be no scales to weigh your unknown treasure, and seek not the depths of your knowledge with staff or sounding line. For self is a sea boundless and measureless. Say not, 'I have found the truth,' but rather, 'I have found a truth.' Say not, 'I have found the path of the soul.' Say rather, 'I have met the soul walking upon my path.' For the soul walks upon all paths. The soul walks not upon a line, neither does it grow like a reed. The soul unfolds itself like a lotus of countless petals." And so that's The Prophet by Kahlil Gibran. The third book was published in 1988 in Portuguese, and actually published in English in 1993. It is The Beloved Alchemist. I actually got these books for my beautiful middle schoolers and gave them to them for their graduation when they were graduating into high school. And it's just such an amazing book. So this book is by Paulo, and I would say it's probably 6 and up depending on the maturity of your child. But again, this is something that you can read to them at any time, regardless of whether they get the full gist of it or if they get little pieces. But it's literally a fiction all about this boy who follows his heart, follows his dreams, follows that north compass, that inner compass of guidance, and he learns the language of the universe, and he meets an alchemist, and he goes on an extraordinary journey of his life, of figuring out who he is in life, and just following his heart and staying strong even when it seems like, you know, hard times are upon him and maybe it's all for naught and all of that stuff. So I'm going to read a clip, and I don't believe this actually has a movie, but I'm going to read a clip, and then if you guys know that if there's a movie, like, feel free to comment down below, and I would love to know that as well, actually. But like I said, this is 1993, so maybe they'll make a movie soon. That would be super cool. Okay, so I'm about to read the boy meeting the old man at the beginning of the book, and a little snippet of wisdom, I guess, from this book that has many snippets of wisdom. The next day, the boy met the old man at noon. He brought 6 sheep with him. "I'm surprised," the boy said. "My friend bought all the other sheep immediately. He said that he was always dreamed of being a shepherd and that it was a good omen." "That's the way it always is," said the old man. "It's called the principle of favorability. When you play cards for the first time, you're almost sure to win. Beginner's luck." "Why is that?" "Because there is a force that wants you to realize your personal legend. It whets your appetite with a taste of success." Then the old man began to inspect the sheep, and he saw that one was lame. The boy explained that it wasn't important, since that sheep was the most intelligent of the flock and produced the most wool. "Where is the treasure?" he asked. "It's in Egypt, near the pyramids." The boy was startled. All right, and so that's part of The Alchemist, and it's a really fun journey. He does go on a quest. So the 4th book that I wanted to talk to you guys about and really recommend is The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield, and there is a movie, and it was published, this book was published in 1993. The movie is, I want to say, like around 1999 or 2000. I'll put a link in the description below for you guys if you want to check out the movie. But as always, books I always feel are better than the movies. They give you a lot more insights. So in The Celestine Prophecy, this is an adventure where a guy goes and he is looking for the manuscript. I believe it's in Peru. And he goes on a quest. It's almost kind of like a little bit of Indiana Jones questing. And as he goes, there are 9 insights that he realizes. And this is all about learning how energy works in our world, and pretty much opening your third eye and understanding the world in a different way, understanding your own energy and your own autonomy within the world. And I really do feel like this is definitely more of a middle school age book. There are, again, like Indiana Jones kind of stuff, so it's a lot of action and adventure. But all in all, I mean, this is an amazing book, and he does learn, you know, like they talk about seeing auras, and they talk about energy exchanges through people and how to get energy without exchanging or taking from people. So I'm going to read an excerpt of this book. So this is page 72, and this is all about the struggle of power. As the woman and her daughter began serving individual dishes of pie, the young girl's elbow hit my water glass, spilling the water on the table in front of me. The older woman rushed over in a rage, shouting at the girl in Spanish and pushing her out of the way. "I am very sorry," the woman said, wiping up the water. "The girl is so clumsy." The young girl exploded, flinging the remaining pie at the woman, missing and splattering pie and broken china across the middle of the table, just as the proprietor returned. The old man shouted and the girl ran from the room. "I'm sorry," he said, hurrying to the table. "It's no problem," I replied. "Don't be so hard on the girl." Will was on his feet, figuring the bill, and we quickly left. Renaud had been quiet, but as we walked through the door and down the steps, he spoke. "Did you see that girl?" he asked, looking at me. "She is a classic example of psychological violence. This is what the human need to control others leads to when taken to the extreme. The old man and woman are dominating the girl totally. Did you see how nervous and stooped she was?" "Yes," I said, "but it appears she's about fed up." "Exactly. Her parents have never let up, and from her point of view, she has no choice but to lash out violently. It is the only way she can gain some control for herself. Unfortunately, when she grows up, because of this early trauma, she will think that she has to seize control and dominate others with the same intensity. This characteristic will be deeply ingrained and will make her just as dominating as her parents are now, especially when she is around other people who are vulnerable, such as children. In fact, this same trauma no doubt happened to her parents before her. They have to dominate now because of the way their parents dominated them. That's the means through which psychological violence is passed down from one generation to another." So that's just a little excerpt of the Celestine Prophecy. Again, I'll put a link down below for the movie as well. And the fifth book I actually don't have a physical copy of, even though I'm definitely working on getting my book collection back. I kind of sold everything for a while. Anyways, so I have it on Audible though, and it is an amazing book. It was actually written in 1992, and it is the book called Ishmael by Daniel Quinn. Now, this book, I encourage every single person, I mean, again, all of these books, just read them, but this book in particular, I would definitely say from middle school up, this book has made a profound perception, a transformation of my perception within this culture. This is all about deprogramming society's agenda and seeing that history and mankind have written history the way that the winners have written history, that kind of thing. So this is about the underdog. This is about, essentially, in the book it's called the leavers and the takers. And I do feel like this book, go seek it out. I do not believe there's a movie about it. And I'll put a link down for the website for all of Daniel Quinn's books. But it is about protecting our earth, protecting the people that we love, and the perception of the earth being part of who we are, and we are part of it, and us not just conquering the world and conquering like, we don't need to conquer the world. We're already here. Like, and these borders and countries, and like what John Lennon says in the Imagine song, it's all in Ishmael. And the way that Daniel Quinn writes it, it is a fiction, but it's literally told through telepathy of a gorilla. And I know it sounds crazy, but it is perfect. And there's so much wisdom in this beautiful, beautiful book. I totally recommend that you go get a copy of Daniel Quinn's Ishmael and read it. Or I know I got the abridged version on Audible. I eventually will get the unabridged version soon in my hands. And I just feel like this book is actually, it does talk about Hitler and the Nazis and the world wars and stuff like that. So I would recommend, me personally, I would recommend that middle schooler up read this. Anyway, so these are the 5 books that I totally recommend to empower the youth of our new youth, our new generations. All of these things, I feel like every single book in here has wisdom that can be taken so that we can direct these new generations to a more empowered, a more eco-friendly and honoring and humbling and working together society, instead of being takers, instead of more all of the stuff, you know, and really understanding that we are all intertwined. And so all of these books, Johnathan Livingston Seagull and The Prophet and The Alchemist, the Celestine Prophecies, and the Ishmael book are all of the recommendations that I have if you would like to read them to empower your children, empower your youth group, anything like that. I totally recommend. So that is it. And if you have any questions or comments, please put them below. I'll put all the links, like I said, in the description box. And I hope that you have a very, very, very blessed day. May you be blessed and enlightened. Namaste, lovelies.